Before we have our evening service, let's bow our heads and pray in silence.
我们一起低头默祷。
Amen. In the holy name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we have our Friday evening service.
奉主耶稣圣名开始星期五晚上的聚会。
Let's first rise up and sing hymn 378.
我们一起来唱诗378首。
Sing hymn 378.
378首。
Please be seated.
好，我们请坐。
So before we go into share some words for mutual encouragement, we're going to kneel down and pray.
还没用神的话语彼此勉励之前，我们一起来祷告。
Let's kneel down and ask God to guide us in this session.
我们求主耶稣带领晚上的聚会，
Let's pray in one accord.
一起同心祷告。
In the holy name of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the holy name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we start tonight's service.
奉主耶稣圣名，这是晚间的聚会。
Thank God we have the opportunity to come together to worship Him once again.
感谢主给我们有这个机会，再一次来敬拜神。
And may the blessing and the peace of God come upon all of us.
愿神的祝福平安临到我们每个人身上。
So tonight I'd like to share about Elijah proclaiming a drought.
所以今天晚上跟大家勉励的题目是以利亚宣告这个旱灾。
And Elijah is a prophet that we're all very familiar with.
我们知道，我们对以利亚这个先知，我们都非常的熟悉。
And he is a prophet that we can tell many stories about.
我们可以从他的事迹上能够讲很多关于他的事情。
And actually, the name Elijah means the Lord is God.
所以以利亚的意思就是神神就是我们的主。
And if we turn to James chapter 5.
我们看这个约翰福音书的第5章。
Let's please turn to James chapter 5.
雅各书的第5章。
James chapter 5.
雅各书的第5章。
James chapter 5 verse 17, the first half.
我们看17节的第一个部分。
Name of Lord Jesus Christ, I read verse 17. Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3 years and 6 months.
以利亚与我们是一样的性情的人，他恳切祷告，求不要下雨，以就3年零6个月不在地上。
So here it records that Elijah was a man with a nature like ours.
所以这里说到以利亚跟我们是一样的性情的人。
And so this means that he was a man just like you and I.
所以简单来说是跟我们一样的。
And at the time that Elijah was ministering, the people were in a very bad state.
所以当时他做先知的时候，当时的百姓他的情况当中是非常的糟糕。
And their faith was at an all-time low.
他们的信仰是在低潮的时候。
But yet in such dark times, God sent a prophet to bring light to them.
但是在这个时候呢，神却差派先知来去光照他们。
And he had this hope that his people would once again return to him.
希望这些百姓再一次回转到神这里来。
So let's first turn to 1 Kings.
我们来看列王记上。
1 Kings chapter 17.
列王记上的第17章。
1 Kings chapter 17, and so today's passage is from verse 1 to verse 7.
所以今天晚上我们就来讲一讲这第1节到这个第7节。
So this is where Elijah first appears in the Bible.
这是第一次记载以利亚在圣经。
And we see how he proclaims to King Ahab about this drought.
他跟这个亚哈王说关乎这个旱灾的事情。
So before we look into the passage, we will just look into some of the background.
我们可以看一下他的背景。
So the background of King Ahab is that he was very evil in the sight of the Lord.
简单来说，这个亚哈王在神的眼中他是非常的邪恶。
But how evil was he?
他有多邪恶呢
？Let's look into 1 Kings chapter 12.
我们可以看这个列王记上的12章。
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 26 to 28.
我们看26节到28节。
Verse 26, And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now the kingdom may return to the house of David. 27, If these people go up to offer sacrifices in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of this people will turn back to their Lord, Rehoboam king of Judah. And they will kill me and go back to Rehoboam king of Judah. Verse 28, Therefore the king asked advice, made 2 calves of gold, and said to the people, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt.
耶罗波安心里说，恐怕这国乃归大卫家，这民若上耶路撒冷去，在耶路撒冷的殿献祭，他们心必归向他们的主犹大王罗波安，就把我杀了，乃归犹大王罗波安。罗波安就筹划定妥，奏造了2个金牛犊，对众民说：以色列人你们上耶路撒冷去，实在是难。这就是领你们出埃及地的神。
And so here it talks about this king called Jeroboam.
所以这里讲到这个耶罗波安王。
And King Jeroboam was there at the time when there were 2 nations.
Sorry.
The nation was split into 2.
当时这个以色列国已经分成2个国家。
And it was the northern kingdom Israel and the southern kingdom Judah.
这个北国以色列跟南国这个犹大。
And Jeroboam was the king of the northern kingdom.
这个耶罗波安是北国的王。
And within Judah was Jerusalem.
所以在这个犹大呢，那里就有耶路撒冷。
And this was where the temple of God was.
这就是当时的神的圣殿所在的地方。
And so here we see that King Jeroboam wanted to keep the people from going into the other nation.
所以简单来说，这个耶罗波安王当时就不想在百姓来到这个耶路撒冷这个南地。
And as a result, he did this great sin by creating these 2 golden calves.
所以他就因此呢，就造了这2个，就奏了这个2个金牛犊犯罪来去得罪神。
And this led to a culture of idol worshipping in the nation.
所以当时的百姓就有这个拜偶像的风俗。
And so the people were instructed to worship these 2 calves instead of going to the temple.
所以这些百姓呢就被指示说要向这个2个金牛犊来去下拜不需要上耶路撒冷来去拜神。
Let's jump to 1 Kings chapter 16.
我们看列王记上的16章。
1 Kings chapter 16.
列王记上的16章。
Verse 25.
我们看25节。
Verse 25. Omri did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did worse than all who were before him.
按例行神中看为恶的事，比他以前的列王作恶更堪。
And here it talks about another king.
这里再讲到另外一个王。
And this king was called Omri.
这里说这个案例。
And what it records about him was that he did worse than everyone before him.
所以这里记载说他比以前的这些王更加作恶更堪。
And why we look into these 2 kings, Jeroboam and Omri, is because in verse 30.
为什么我们看这个耶罗波安还有这个案例呢？因为我们可以看这个第30节。
And let's look at verse 30.
我们看这个30节。
Verse 30. And now Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord, more than all who were before him.
安利的儿子亚哈行神眼中看为恶的事，比他以前的王列王更堪。
And so we see that ever since these kings
地塞不下雨，地也不出产，使你在神所赐给你们的美地上速速灭亡。
And so even before the people entered the promised land, God warned them of their disobedience.
甚至这些百姓还没有进这个迦南地之前神已经警告他们这样的事情。
He told them of the curses that would come upon them if they went to other gods.
所以这里说这个咒诅就会临到他们的身上，如果他们去侍奉别的神。
And we know that God had meant peace and joy for his people.
我们知道说神是要给这些百姓有这个喜乐跟平安。
If we read from the preceding verses, we find that truly God cared for this land.
那之前的经文我们告诉我们说神是真的来去就是要照顾这些百姓。
Verse 11 and verse 12.
你可以看这个11节还有12节。
But the land which you cross over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of heaven. 12. A land for which the Lord your God cares. The eyes of the Lord your God are always on it, from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year.
你们要过去得为业的那地乃是有山有谷，雨水滋润之地，是你们神所眷顾的，从岁首到年终神你们的神眼目常看顾那地。
And so here we find out the reason for the drought.
所以这里告诉我们他们这个旱灾的这个理由。
And so in the time of Elijah and Ahab, we find that because of the people's sins, they were to not have any rain.
所以因为他们犯罪所以就没有下雨。
And perhaps for the people at the time, droughts would have been a very difficult problem.
对他们来说旱灾的话是一个非常困难的时刻。
Without the rain, they would not be able to grow any crops, and they would not be able to bring up their livestock.
所以没有水的话就不能够种不能够种什么土产，也不能够养什么牲畜。
And so by having this drought, there would be famine, and it would be no easy problem.
就可以说是有这个饥荒就面对很大的问题。
So today we may not be facing physical drought.
所以今天我们可能没有面对这个物质上的这种饥荒。
But we may be facing different problems just like the people were.
那可能我们可能面对不同的问题，就好像当时的百姓一样。
But for us today, they may be subtle and very complicated.
可能今天是非常的复杂的不是这么清楚看得到的。
It may be that we are stuck at a crossroad, unsure of what to do.
或者我们现在来到这个交叉路口不知道应该怎么做。
Or we may be facing a difficulty in which we are struggling in.
或者我们面对一些困难，我们在挣扎当中。
And for us at these times, it may be a time for us to reflect and think about our relationship with God.
可能这个时候就是我们要来去思考一下我们跟神之间的关系。
Perhaps these problems or these droughts that God has put in our lives.
可能这些问题就好像我们生活上的这种旱灾一样。
Just like how God has promised His blessings towards the people in the land.
就好像当时神来去就是说来去跟他们说神要来去照顾他们。
He has also promised His many blessings for us today in the church.
同样的，今天神也是要给我们很多不同的这个福气。
And so if we're not receiving the rain, if we're not in this land that is so good, then we should reflect.
那如果我们没有领到这个应许的福气来去临到我们身上的话，就好像在当时的百姓这样的话，我们就应该要来去思考一下。
And so in this time, the king was supposed to lead the people.
这个时候呢，这个王应该是来去带领这些百姓的。
The role of the king was to bring the people closer to God.
那王所扮演的角色就是要把百姓来去带到更加的亲近神。
Essentially, they were appointed to be spiritual leaders.
可以说他们是好像当时的属灵的领袖一样。
And actually, they too themselves were supposed to learn the law of God.
他们自己本身也要来学习神的这些律例典章。
Let's see how much they had to learn the law of God.
那我们看一下他们应该要学神的这个诫命呢。
Let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 17.
我们看17章，申命记的17章。
Deuteronomy chapter 17.
申命记的17章。
Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 18 to 20.
我们看18节到20节。
Verse 18. Also it shall be when he sits on the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write for himself a copy of this law in a book, from the one before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, and be careful to observe all the words of this law and these statutes. 20. That his heart may not be lifted above his brethren, that he may not turn aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, and that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel.
他登了国位，就要将祭司利未人面前的这律法书为自己抄录一本，存在他那里，要平生拥读，好学习敬畏神他的神，谨守遵行他这律法书上一切言语和这些律例，免得他向弟兄心高气傲，偏左偏右，离了这诫命。这样他和他的子孙便可以在以色列中，在国位上年长日久。
And so here we find that this was a command for the kings.
所以我们发觉到说，这是给这王的这种指示。
And actually what they had to do was to write out the law.
其实他们要把这个律法书把它抄录一本。
They had to have their own copy of the law with them.
就是说他们自己要有一本。
So that they can be humble to lead the people.
直到他们能够来去谦卑的来去带领当时的百姓。
But unfortunately, we find that many of the kings failed to do so.
但是我们发觉到说，当时很多的这些王列王，他们都没有这样来去做。
And they were unable to lead the people as a result.
他们最终呢就不能够带领这些百姓。
And today, being part of the True Jesus Church, we are a member of the household of God.
今天我们成为真耶稣教会的信徒，我们是教会当中的一份子。
And we know that we too have also become kings and priests spiritually.
我们也是在属灵方面来说，我们是这个可以说是君王，也可以说是祭司。
And we also know that the Old Testament is written for our learning.
我们知道说旧约圣经的记载也是给我们来去学习。
And so this command also applies to us.
所以这样的诫命也是会用在我们的身上。
How deeply do we know the Word of God?
我们对神的话是有多认识的呢？
Perhaps we may not need to write out the words of God.
可能我们没有把神的话来去抄录一遍。
But the question is, do we have the same heart to pursue after the words of God?
那问题是说，我们有没有这心来去追求神的话？
Just as the king had this spirit to write out the law of God, do we have the same spirit to pursue?
就好像说，这个王要有这样的一种心智来去抄录一本，我们有这样的心智来去追求。
And so at this time, Elijah was a good example of being a spiritual king.
所以以利亚呢，可以说是一个当时的这种属灵的王一样。
And despite the difficulties at the time, he was victorious over the idolatry at the time.
虽然当时这百姓现在这么困苦当中，他是能够胜过他们这种拜偶像的事情。
And Elijah was truly a servant of God.
可以说以利亚也是一个真正的神的仆人。
And just like we mentioned earlier, that even his name stood against the society.
甚至当时他的名字是跟当时的社会是相反的，相对的。
In this time where they had a variety of different gods and idols, his name meant the Lord is God.
所以虽然他们当时的这个社会当中有不同的偶像，但是他的名字却是说主就是神。
And so not only did his words and his actions bring the people towards God.
虽然他的话语跟他的动作都要把这些百姓带到神的面前。
Even his name and his existence brought people to God.
甚至他的名字也能够说让人家明白到神的事情。
And so when others think of us,
所以当人家想到我们的时候，看到我们的时候，
does it point them towards God?
我们是不是把人带到神这里来呢？
Do we shine forth his glory?
我们有没有把神的荣耀彰显出来？
And these are questions we should take time to think about.
这是我们要来去花时间来去思考的问题。
Now let's turn back to 1 Kings chapter 17.
我们看回列王记上的17章。
1 Kings chapter 17 verse 1.
17章的第1节。
Verse 1. And Elijah the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilead said to Ahab, As the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall be no dew nor rain these years except at my word.
基列寄居的提斯比人以利亚对亚哈说：“我指着所侍奉永生神以色列的神起誓，这几年我若不祷告，必不降露，不下雨。”
So the introduction of Elijah is actually very dramatic.
所以这个介绍以利亚的时候，可以说是非常的怎么说就是
very interesting.
很有意思。
And we see his boldness and his confidence towards God.
可以说看到他对神的这种勇气。
The first thing that he does is proclaim this against the king.
首先他是说了这样的严厉的话来向这个王说这样的话。
And as a prophet of God, he spoke the words of God to Ahab.
他是神的百姓，他这样的来去跟神这个神的先知，他跟这个亚哈王这样来去说。
Perhaps for Ahab, he may have not known whether this was true.
所以对亚哈来说，他可能不知道这到底是不是真的。
At the time, there were many idols and many gods, and there were so many different practices.
因为当时有这么多的这种偶像，不同的这种风俗。
There would have been many so-called prophets and so-called priests.
当时也有很多不同的先知，也有不同的这些祭司。
Many false prophets claiming to be of God, or all these false prophets of foreign gods.
这些假先知他们也说他们是从神来的。
But we see an interesting verse in Deuteronomy.
但是我们在这个生命记里面，我们看到一个很有意思的一个经文。
Let's turn to Deuteronomy.
生命记
Deuteronomy chapter 13.
13章
Chapter 13, verse 1 to 3.
13章的第1节还有第2节。
Again,
第
so
3节
even before he enters, the people enter the promised land.
甚至这些百姓还没有进入这个迦南地之前，
God warns them of these false prophets.
神已经就是警告当时的百姓关乎这些假先知。
Verse 1, If there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder. 2, And the sign of the wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, Let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. 3, You shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
你们中间若有先知或是做梦的起来，向你显个神迹奇事，对你说，我们去随从你素来不认识的别神，侍奉他们，他所显的神迹奇事虽有应验，你也不可听那先知或是那做梦之人的话，因为这是你们的神试验你们，要知道你们是尽心尽性爱神，你们的神不是。
Let's also look at chapter 18.
你看18章
Deuteronomy chapter 18.
18章
Chapter 18, verse 20.
18章的20节。
But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die.
若有先知擅敢托我的名说我所未曾吩咐他说的话，或是奉别神的名说话，那先知就必致死。
Verse 21.
21节。
And if you say in your heart, How shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken?
你们心里若说神未曾吩咐的话，我们怎么知道呢？
Verse 22, When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not happen or come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously, and you shall not be afraid of him.
22节，先知托神的名说话，所说的若不成就，也无效验。这是神所未曾吩咐的，那先知擅自说的，你不要怕他。
And so the people were taught to discern.
所以这里这些百姓来教导，要来去分辨。
The first, the saying, if it led them towards God, then that's a good thing.
当然，如果他们所说的是把他们带到神这里来，这是好的。
But if it's a saying that leads them away from God, then obviously it's not true.
如果他们所讲的使到他们远离神的话，那就不是真的，不是从神来的。
And secondly, whether what has been said comes to pass.
那第二就是他们所讲的是不是会应验。
And so following Elijah's proclamation,
所以根据接着以利亚的这个宣告，
we see that truly the rain did not fall anymore.
真的这个雨就没有下来了。
And for Ahab, he should have come to realize that these were the true words from God.
那对亚哈来说，他应该知道，因此知道说这是神所讲的话。
We would think to ourselves that surely he would have realized.
那我们可以这样说，他应该能够醒觉得到。
To realize that the idols that he worshipped were false and that the one true God was the one and only God.
使到他知道说他所敬拜的偶像是假的不是真实的，他知道这个独一的真神。
But we know that throughout the entire period of the drought, he did not return.
那你发觉到整个这个干旱的这个时间 里面他都没有回头
He did not change from his actions.
他没有从他所做的事情上来去改变
But for us today, we are assured of the truth that the church teaches us.
那今天我们已经肯定说教会所领受的这个真理教导了我们
We know that it's completely based on the Bible
是完全的遵照这个圣经
and is evidenced by the Holy Spirit and these signs and wonders.
那借着圣灵的降临还有神迹奇事的证明
So for us today, we see that the truth really is true.
所以今天我们知道说这个真道真的是真的
Does the truth that we see and experience cause us to change and improve?
那我们所领受我们所知道的会不会使到我们来去改变呢
Just like how the drought had come to pass in the time of Elijah.
就好像当时的旱灾真的在以利亚的时候来去就是出现了
We see that prophecies are happening now.
现在的预言已经慢慢的实现
And the truth is being fulfilled.
这个这些真理已经慢慢的实现
For us, these should further strengthen our faith and help us to improve.
这样应该是能够兼顾我们的信心，使到我们更加的进步
And so if we look at 1 Kings chapter 17,
我们看回这列王记上的17章
verse 2 to verse 3.
第2节还有第3节
Verse 2, Then the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Verse 3, Get away from here and turn eastward, and hide by the brook Cherith, which flows into the Jordan.
神的话临到以利亚说，你离开这里往东去，藏在约旦河东边的基利溪旁
And here we see that God commands him to flee.
之后呢接下来神要他来去就是说要离开
And let's read verse 4 to verse 6.
我们看第4节到第6节
And it will be that you shall drink from the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. So he went and did according to the word of the Lord, for he went and stayed by the brook Cherith, which flows into the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook.
你要喝那溪里的水，我已经吩咐乌鸦在那里供养你。于是以利亚照着神的话，去住在约旦河东的基利溪旁。乌鸦早晚给他挑饼和肉来，他也喝那溪里的水。
And so here we see that Elijah went and hid according to the word of God.
所以这里以利亚照着神的话来去做。
And he ate as was allotted to him.
所以他就是他就是照着这个乌鸦所给他的来去吃跟喝。
And he did so without any worry, but with faith.
他是没有担心的凭信心的来去做。
And every day he would receive the bread and the meat from the ravens.
所以每一天这个乌鸦都会带这个饼和肉来。
And we know that he did this for a period of time.
可以说在这里待了一段的时间。
All the way until the brook actually dried up.
一直到了这些溪水都干了。
If we pay attention to verse 5.
如果我们注意这个第5节的话
verse 5 says, So he went and did according to the word of the Lord.
这里说于是以利亚照着神的话去住在约旦河东的基利溪旁。
And very often when we read about prophets in the Bible, it says this phrase.
所以当我们听到我们常读圣经看到这些祭司的时候，常常会看到这样的经文在先知的时候。
If it was written in a normal book, a writer would just say he went to the brook, etc.
所以有时候他那个作者他会这样说，他会照着神的话，就是他来到这个溪水旁。
But the important part mentioned is that he went and did according to the word of the Lord.
那重点就是说他是照着神的话来去做。
Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 13.
我们看这个耶利米书的第13章。
Jeremiah chapter 13.
耶利米书的第13章。
Chapter 13, verse 2 and verse 5.
我们看第2节还有第5节。
Verse 2, So I got a sash according to the word of the Lord and put it around my waist.
我就照神的话买了一根带子束腰。
Verse 5, So I went and hid it by the Euphrates as the Lord commanded me.
我就去照着神所吩咐我的，将腰带藏在幼发拉底河边。
We find that in the Bible, when it talks about the prophets, they do many strange things.
那你发觉到在圣经里面提到这些先知的时候，他们做了一些看起来挺奇怪的事情。
In the eyes of man, they may be seen as being very strange.
看起来在人的眼中看起来是非常的奇怪。
But we find that they did it faithfully and did it according to the word of God.
但是你发觉到说他们是很忠心的，照着神的吩咐来去做。
And similarly, Elijah did accordingly.
同样的，这个以利亚也是这样做。
And so this teaches us to do things according to the word of God with faith and with obedience.
所以这里也告诉我们，有没有照着凭着信心来去顺服的，来去遵照神的话来去做。
Because Elijah did so, he was nourished daily by the brook.
因为他有这样做，所以他在被这个就是说来到这里被这个再来到这里被这环境来去滋润。
And we can compare this with the Israelites in the wilderness.
那我们可以比较一下以色列人在这个旷野。
Both these groups of people were to be fed by God.
所以说这两种人他都被神来去就是说来去喂养。
We find that Elijah did so faithfully and obediently.
但是以利亚呢，他是忠心的顺服的来这样去做。
But with the Israelites, they complained and they were disobedient.
但是以色列人呢，他们是来去埋怨，来去投诉。
So, for example, we see that Israelites tried to keep manna overnight.
比如说可能有些以色列人他们把这个玛拿来去留过夜。
And as a result, they found it stank and there were worms in them.
那发觉到说第二天呢就发霉了。
And they tried to, because they tried to keep manna, it seemed as though it was very wise in the eyes of man.
看起来把玛拿留下来能留到第二天，在人的眼中看起来是非常的聪明。
But what that really means is that they lacked the faith that manna would come down the next day.
但是问题是说他们缺乏这个信心可能不相信说明天玛拿会继续的降下。
Perhaps they thought to themselves, if I save some for tomorrow and there's no manna, then I will be the one benefiting.
那如果我留下一些玛拿，明天没有玛拿下来的话，那我就能够得到益处。
But this truly showed the level of their faith.
那也告诉我们他们的这份信心的程度。
Let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 8.
我们看申命记的第8章。
Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3.
申命记第8章，我们看第3节。
Verse 3. So he humbled you, allowed you to hunger, and fed you with manna which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man shall not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that proceeds from the mouth of the Lord.
他苦练你，任你饥渴，将你和你列祖所不认识的玛拿赐给你，使你知道人活着不是单靠食物，乃是靠神口里所出的一切的话。
It's true that Elijah's life was sustained by the bread and the meat.
当然以利亚的生命是靠着这些饼跟这个肉来去维持。
But God commanding the ravens to bring him the meat and the bread is a literal demonstration of this verse.
所以当神吩咐这个乌鸦来去把这个饼跟肉带到他面前就是完全显出了这一节的这一句话。
Truly Elijah did not live by bread alone, but by the words of God.
所以以利亚不是只是单靠这个食物，乃是也靠神的口里所出的一切的话。
If we turn back to 1 Kings chapter 17.
我们看列王纪上的17章。
1 Kings chapter 17 verse 4.
我们看第四节。
And this is what God had said to Elijah.
这是神对以利亚所说的话。
And it will be that you shall drink from the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed you there.
我要喝那溪里的水，我已经吩咐乌鸦在那里供养你。
And so Elijah did not have any doubt in his faith about this.
所以以利亚对他的这种信仰是没有什么怀疑的。
And because of this, he was able to live by the word of God.
所以他因此就能够靠着神的话来去活着。
And so we've heard of many sermons, many teachings.
我们听了很多的道理，很多的教训。
We know that God provides for all that we need.
神会为我们预备我们所需用的。
And that everything is in his hands.
所有的一切都在他手中。
But the question is, are we able to be like Elijah to live according to his words?
问题是说，我们能不能够像以利亚这样照着他的话来去生活？
We see that Elijah at the brook was able to overcome the trial.
所以以利亚在这个时候，在这个溪水边呢，就能够胜过这个考验。
Let's look at verse 7.
我们看第7节。
Verse 7, And it happened after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land.
过了些日子溪水就干了，因为雨没有下在地上。
And so even though Elijah did good, he was faced with something that wasn't very good.
虽然他这样做了，但是他之后还是面对这样的一个问题。
Slowly but surely there was less and less water day by day.
当然一天一天的过去，这个溪水就慢慢的少了。
But even though the brook was drying up, he remembered the words of God.
虽然这个溪水就要干了，但是他还是明白到神的话。
Elijah did not let what he could see with his own eyes cover what he saw by faith.
所以他是能够他凭信心的能够看得到
He saw that everything was according to the will of God.
一切的事情是照着神的旨意的
And as a result, he did not have any fear.
因此呢他是没有带着惧怕的
Elijah knew in his heart that since this was the doing of God, then he would be sustained.
他知道说这是神的这个作为，他知道神一定会就是养活他
Just because the water ran out, he did not forget how the ravens came day by day.
虽然这个水也干了，但是他知道每一天这个乌鸦还是来。
Let's turn to 2 Corinthians.
我们看哥林多后书
2 Corinthians chapter 5.
哥林多后书的第5章
2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7.
哥林多后书第5章我们看第7节
Verse 7, For we walk by faith, not by sight.
我们因我们行事为人是凭着信心，不是凭着眼见
So from here we see that Elijah was truly able to do so.
那我发觉到说以利亚真的能够这样来去做
And this is why for us today we are always encouraged to pray.
所以今天我们都常常听到鼓励我们说要来去多祷告
And prayer is the best way to overcome a situation.
祷告可以说是一个最好的方式来去面对我们所面对的事情
Because sometimes the situation we see with our eyes can stop us from seeing with our faith.
因为有些事情摆在我们眼前看到之后，能够会阻止我们凭信心来去看。
Let's turn to James chapter 5.
我们看雅各书的第5章。
James chapter 5.
雅各书的第5章。
James chapter 5 verse 17.
17节。
Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain. And it did not rain on the land for 3 years and 6 months.
以利亚与我们是一样的性情，他恳切祷告，求不要下雨，雨就3年零6个月不下在地上。
And since Elijah was able to overcome this difficulty,
既然以利亚能够胜过这个困难，
we too can overcome the difficulties in our lives.
我们可以在我们生活上来去胜过我们的困难。
And so today from this passage we've learned a few things.
所以从这一段经文当中，我们学到几方面的事情。
The first is that as kings we should be victorious.
第一，这个王应该是一个得胜的王。
And to be able to lead others by example.
我们应该是能够就是有好榜样来去带领别人。
And we should pursue the words of God and to inscribe it on our hearts.
我们要追求神的话，把神的话就是放在心里。
We also see that the fulfillment of the truth should strengthen our faith.
这个真理的这个实现应该会更加的坚固我们的信心。
And lastly, by faith, to do the words of God obediently despite the situations we may be in.
所以我们是凭着信心来去照着神的话，虽然环境不是这么好。
And we thank God for tonight's sermon.
感谢神今天晚上的聚会。
Let's rise and sing hymn.
我们一起来唱诗。
256.
256首。There shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing, sent from the Savior above. Showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the shelters we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, precious reviving again, over the hills and the valleys, out of abundance of rain. Showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, oh that today they might fall. Now as to God we confess, Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, as for the showers we plead.
Please be seated.
好，我们请坐。
So now we're going to have our concluding prayer.
我们要做结束的祷告。
In this prayer, we ask God to guide us in tomorrow's services,
祷告当中，求主带领明天安息日的聚
and
会。
also to grant us the strength and also the heart to listen to His word.
给我们这个力量，还有这个心来去听神的话，
Let's kneel down and pray in one accord.
一起同心祷告。
In the holy name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. Oh. Peace to you all.
大家平安。